In 1849, British archaeologists were excavating ruins in what is now Iraq when they found something that shouldn't exist. Clay tablets, thousands of them, covered with a script no one could decipher. It took decades to translate those cuneiform symbols, but when they finally did, the content was disturbing. The Sumerians, one of the oldest known civilizations, recorded a story about the origin of humanity. And this story doesn't mention gradual evolution. It doesn't mention slow natural processes over millions of years. Instead, it describes something completely different: direct intervention, genetic manipulation, deliberate creation by beings who came from elsewhere. Have you ever stopped to think why our species is so different from all other primates? Why do we have only 46 chromosomes while our closest relatives have 48? Why is there an unexplained gap in the fossil record exactly at the moment when Homo sapiens appears? And why do ancient texts from cultures separated by oceans tell surprisingly similar versions of the same story about gods who descended and created humanity? Before we continue, if you want to discover truths that remain hidden in the oldest archives of civilization, subscribe to the channel now. Hit the notification button, because what you're about to learn doesn't appear in any officially approved textbook. The Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki. The term literally means those who from heaven to earth came. They weren't gods in the mystical or spiritual sense. The texts describe them as physical, corporeal beings with advanced technology. They arrived on Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago, searching for mineral resources, specifically gold, and they needed workers. The texts describe the process in disturbing detail. The Anunnaki took a primitive species already existing on Earth and genetically modified it. They mixed their own genetic material with the DNA of this creature. The result was the human being. Does this sound like science fiction? Yes, but let's examine the documented evidence. First, the tablets themselves. They're not vague myths or orally transmitted legends. They're written physical records dated to 5,000 years ago. Archaeologists have found more than 500,000 cuneiform tablets. They've been translated by respected academics using rigorous linguistic methods. The translations are consistent among different experts. We're not talking about subjective interpretation. We're talking about texts that literally describe genetic engineering. One particular tablet, called Atrahasis, details the creation process. It describes how the Anunnaki debated the problem of needing workers. One of them, called Enki, proposed a solution. Let me create a primitive worker. His task will be to perform the heavy labor. The text then describes how they took clay, which scholars interpret as a metaphor for biological material, and mixed it with the blood of an Anunnaki. A goddess named Ninhursag supervised the process. She's called in the texts the Lady of Life, or the Lady who gives birth. The result was Adamu, the first human being. Now compare this to human genetic anomalies that modern science cannot adequately explain. Our DNA contains sequences called HAR genes, human accelerated regions. These segments of our genome are almost identical in chimpanzees, gorillas, and other primates, but in humans they're drastically different. The mutation rate in these regions is 100 times faster than would be expected through natural evolution. How did this happen? The official explanation is, we don't know, but it must have been natural selection. But what if it wasn't? What if it was exactly what the Sumerian tablets describe: deliberate insertion of external genetic material? Consider also human chromosome 2. All great apes have 24 pairs of chromosomes, 48 in total. Humans have 23 pairs, 46 in total. Where did the missing pair go? Geneticists discovered that human chromosome number 2 is actually a fusion of two primate chromosomes. It's as if someone took two separate chromosomes and fused them into one. Does this happen naturally? Rarely, and when it does, it usually causes serious health problems or infertility. But in humans, not only did it happen perfectly, it became the defining characteristic of our species. What are the odds of that? If you're starting to question everything you were taught about human origins, you're not alone. Thousands of researchers worldwide are examining this evidence. But mainstream institutions refuse to acknowledge it. Why? Because accepting this reality would require rewriting every biology textbook. It would require admitting that the official narrative is incomplete at best, deliberately misleading at worst. Hit the like button if you think people deserve access to all information, not just what authorities approve. Let's continue. The Sumerian tablets provide specific details about the genetic modification process. The text states that it took multiple attempts to get it right. The first creatures they created were failures, deformed, unable to reproduce. Does this sound familiar? It should. It's exactly what happens in modern genetic engineering when scientists attempt to create hybrid organisms. Trial and error, failed experiments, gradual refinement of the process until finally achieving a viable result. The Epic of Gilgamesh, another Sumerian text, describes these early failed attempts.
It mentions creatures that were neither fully animal nor fully human, beings with severe deformities. The text says these failed creations were destroyed and the process started again. Only after many attempts did they successfully create what they called the black-headed people, the Sumerians' term for humanity. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The tablets describe how different groups of Anunnaki created different types of humans in different locations. This would explain the sudden, simultaneous appearance of modern humans in multiple geographic locations around 200,000 years ago. The fossil record shows Homo sapiens appearing in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia within a relatively short time frame. Standard evolutionary theory struggles to explain this. How did a species evolve in multiple places at once? But if different groups were deliberately creating humans in different locations, the pattern makes perfect sense. What about the missing link? You've heard this term. Scientists have searched for over a century for the transitional fossil that connects modern humans to our supposed evolutionary ancestors. They've found plenty of ape fossils. They've found plenty of human fossils. But the transitional form, the creature that's clearly in between, has never been found. Why? Because it never existed. There was no gradual transition. There was modification, intervention, creation. The Sumerian texts explain something else that confounds scientists: human childbirth. Among all mammals, human childbirth is uniquely difficult and dangerous. Our heads are too large for the birth canal. Women frequently died in childbirth before modern medicine. Why would evolution produce such a clearly disadvantageous trait? It wouldn't. But if humans were created by combining genetic material from two very different species, one with much larger cranial capacity, this problem makes complete sense. We weren't designed for natural birth. We were engineered, and the engineering wasn't perfect. Think about this. Why do humans require so much more care and time to mature than any other primate? A baby horse can walk within hours of birth. Most mammals are independent within weeks or months. Human children require years of constant care. We're born essentially premature by any reasonable standard. Our brains continue developing outside the womb because they're too large to fully develop inside. This isn't efficient design. This isn't successful evolution. This is the result of forced hybridization between two incompatible genetic material. The tablets describe why the Anunnaki created us. They needed workers for gold mining operations. Gold, according to these texts, was essential to their technology and to the survival of their home world. They came to Earth specifically to extract it. Initially, the Anunnaki themselves performed the labor, but after thousands of years, they rebelled. The lower-ranking Anunnaki refused to continue the back-breaking work, so their leaders decided to create a worker species. That's us. We were designed to be intelligent enough to follow complex instructions, but not so intelligent that we would question our purpose or rebel against our creators. Does this sound degrading? Perhaps, but it explains human psychology in ways that conventional theories cannot. Why are humans so naturally hierarchical? Why do we instinctively create authority structures? Why do we feel an inexplicable need to serve something greater than ourselves, whether that's gods, nations, or causes? Because we were literally engineered for servitude. That impulse isn't cultural, it's genetic. It was built into us. Before we go further, I need you to do something. Share this video. Not because I need views, but because this information needs to reach as many people as possible. Institutions have every reason to suppress this evidence. They benefit from the current narrative. They benefit from keeping you ignorant of your true origins. But knowledge is power. Truth is freedom. Share this investigation with everyone you know who values truth over comfortable lies. The Sumerian tablets describe interactions between the Anunnaki and humans that continued for thousands of years after our creation. These beings lived among us. They ruled as kings and queens. The tablets list dynasties of rulers who reigned for impossibly long periods, thousands of years each. Modern scholars dismiss these as exaggerations or symbolic, but what if they're accurate? What if their lifespans far exceeded ours? What if genetic degradation, aging, and death weren't part of their biology the way it is ours? The tablets describe how the Anunnaki interbred with human women, creating a hybrid race. The Bible contains an almost identical story. Genesis chapter 6 describes the sons of God coming down to earth and taking human wives, producing offspring called the Nephilim, giants who were mighty warriors of old. Is this mythology, or is it history recorded in religious language? Archaeological evidence supports these accounts. Skeletal remains of exceptionally large humans have been found worldwide. Official institutions dismiss them as hoaxes or misidentifications, but photographs exist, museum records exist. Newspaper articles from the 19th century describe discoveries of giant skeletons in burial mounds throughout North America. Where are these skeletons now? Most have disappeared from public record. conveniently lost. Accidentally destroyed. Why? Because they prove the official narrative wrong. The Sumerian tablets explain another mystery: the sudden emergence of civilization. For 200,000 years, humans existed as hunter-gatherers. No agriculture, no cities, no writing, no complex technology. Then, suddenly, around 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, everything changed. Within a few generations, humans developed writing, mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, metallurgy, law codes, and complex social structures. How? The conventional answer is we just figured it out. But that's not an explanation. That's an excuse for not having an explanation. The tablets provide the actual answer. The Anunnaki taught us. They gave us knowledge. They showed us how to farm, how to build, how to write, how to organize societies. Sumerian texts explicitly state this. They describe gods teaching humans every art and science. This wasn't gradual cultural evolution. This was knowledge transfer from an advanced civilization to a primitive one. Why did they do this? The tablets suggest several reasons. First, they needed more sophisticated workers for more complex tasks. Basic mining labor required only basic intelligence, but managing agricultural production, smelting metals, and building cities required educated workers. Second, some Anunnaki genuinely cared for humanity. The god Enki, who supervised our creation, is consistently portrayed as humanity's protector and teacher. He warned us of disasters. He shared forbidden knowledge. He intervened when other Anunnaki wanted to destroy us. That brings us to another disturbing element of these texts: the flood. Every ancient culture has a flood story. The Sumerians describe a deliberate decision by the Anunnaki Council to destroy humanity. We had become too numerous, too noisy, too troublesome. The solution was to send a great flood to wipe us out and start over. But Enki warned one human, Zayusudra, and told him to build a boat. Sound familiar? The biblical flood story is almost identical. Same event, same warning, same survival strategy. The only differences are names and minor details. Here's what they don't want you to know. Geological evidence confirms a massive flood occurred in the Middle East around 11,000 years ago. Sea levels rose dramatically. Entire regions were inundated. Coastal settlements disappeared underwater. This wasn't mythology. This was history. And if the flood was real, what about the rest of the story? What about the deliberate attempt to destroy humanity? What about the beings who made that decision? Ask yourself this: if humans were created as slave species by advanced beings, what does that mean for everything you believe about freedom, dignity, and purpose? What does it mean for religion, for morality, for society? The implications are staggering, and that's exactly why this information is suppressed. It's too dangerous, too destabilizing, too revolutionary. The Sumerian tablets describe something else crucial: where the Anunnaki went. They didn't stay on Earth permanently. They came and went. Eventually, around 4,000 years ago, they left for good. The texts don't explain why clearly. Something changed.
Something happened that made Earth less important to them, or made their continued presence impossible. What was it? We don't know, but their departure explains the sudden decline of ancient high civilizations. Without their guidance and technology, human societies began to fragment and regress. But here's the critical question: did they really leave permanently, or do they still observe us from a distance? The tablets suggest that some Anunnaki remained behind, hidden among humanity. They describe a group tasked with monitoring human development and ensuring we never became too advanced, never rediscovered the full truth of our origins. Could such a group still exist today? Could there be individuals or organizations working to suppress this evidence, to control human development, to keep us ignorant of our true nature and potential? Think about the institutions that control access to information. Think about who decides what gets taught in schools. Think about who funds archaeological expeditions and controls what discoveries are published. Think about who owns the media that shapes public perception of reality. Are these institutions really neutral? Are they really interested only in truth, or do they serve a different agenda? I'm not asking you to believe everything without question. I'm asking you to question everything you've been told without evidence. Examine the Sumerian tablets yourself. Read the translations. Look at the genetic anomalies. Consider the archaeological evidence. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Investigate, research, think critically. The truth is out there, documented in clay tablets that have survived for 5,000 years, waiting for people brave enough to read them without the filter of official interpretation. What do you think? Does any institution have the right to decide which information is acceptable and which is too dangerous? Or should everyone have access to all evidence and decide for themselves what it means? Leave your answer in the comments. Let's start a real conversation about this. The most important discovery isn't in the tablets themselves. It's in what they reveal about how we're controlled. By keeping this information hidden, by dismissing it as pseudoscience or conspiracy theory, by attacking anyone who takes it seriously, the establishment maintains a monopoly on truth.
They decide what's real. They decide what you're allowed to know. They decide what version of history gets taught to your children. And they do this not for your benefit, but for theirs. Because an ignorant population is a controlled population. But a population that knows the truth about its origins, about its capabilities, about its potential, cannot be controlled. You now possess knowledge that most people will never encounter. You've seen evidence that contradicts everything the official narrative claims about human origins. What you do with this knowledge is up to you. You can dismiss it, you can forget about it, you can go back to accepting whatever authorities tell you, or you can continue investigating. You can demand answers. You can refuse to accept explanations that don't make sense. You can spread this information to others who deserve to know the truth. Subscribe to this channel if you want more investigations like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a revelation, because we're just getting started. There are dozens more discoveries that challenge everything you think you know. Ancient technologies that shouldn't exist, structures that couldn't have been built with primitive tools, texts that describe events authorities claim never happened. And all of it is documented. All of it is real. All of it is waiting to be uncovered by people who value truth over comfortable ignorance. The Sumerian tablets are clear. Humanity was created through genetic engineering by advanced beings called the Anunnaki. Our DNA is not purely human because we're not purely from Earth. We're hybrids, part terrestrial primate, part something else. That something else gave us intelligence, creativity, language, and consciousness far beyond what natural evolution could produce in the available time frame. But it also gave us something else, a drive to discover truth, to question authority, to reach beyond our designed limitations. Perhaps that was Enki's final gift. Perhaps he built into us the capacity to eventually understand what was done to us and to transcend our original purpose. You are not what they told you. Your origins are not what they taught you. Your potential is not what they defined for you. You are the result of the most sophisticated genetic engineering project in this planet's history. You carry within your cells the genetic heritage of beings who crossed the stars, and that means you're capable of far more than they want you to believe. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?